the US government just changed who pays for AI? And the answer might be you every time you open your power bill. Here's the thing, I'm a heavy equipment mechanic. I'm a volunteer firefighter, and I'm learning this AI stuff from scratch, same as a lot of you. So every week I'm going to dig through the noise and tell you the few things that actually matter for guys like us. People who work with their hands. No hype, no jargon. If something's overblown, I'll say so. This week, there's 3 of them. A move that hits your power bill, an AI that a lot of people relied on getting switched off overnight, and a free tool I put on the bench to see if it's worth anything. Let's get into it. So here's what happened. Last Thursday, June 18th, the U.S. Federal Energy Regulator, FERC, think of them as the guys who write the rules for the big power grid, stepped in and gave an order to all 6 of the major U.S. grid operators. Grids covering about 200 million people across more than 30 states. And the reason is these giant AI data centers. The buildings full of computers that run all the AI everybody's talking about. They eat electricity like nothing we've ever seen. Right now, data centers are already about 5% of all the power used in the United States. In Virginia, where a bunch of them are packed in, they're already eating more than a quarter of the whole state's electricity. And the line of new ones waiting to plug into the U.S. grid is so long, it's nearly double the size of the entire grid that already exists. That's not a typo. Real quick, because this is my whole thing, no hype. You've probably heard somebody say one AI question uses 10 times the power of a Google search. I looked into it. That number comes from one offhand comment back in 2023, and the actual research says a normal AI question uses about the same as a regular search. So don't let anyone scare you with that one. The real story isn't one question. It's billions of them running in these giant buildings around the clock. That's what moves your power bill. Let me put the whole thing in shop terms. Imagine a new outfit opens up next door to your shop. Massive operation. They draw so much power that when they flip everything on, the lights in your bay dim. And now there's a fight over who pays to upgrade the wiring on the whole street, them or everybody. That's exactly the fight. FERC's order does 2 things. 1, it puts the grid operators on a tight clock, 30 and 60-day deadlines, to either prove their current rules work or rewrite them, so these data centers stop sitting in line for years. But 2, and this is the part for us, it tells them they are not allowed to dump the cost of all that onto regular people's bills. The companies have to pay for their own upgrades, and in some cases bring their own power or shut down when the grid's under stress. Why now? Because power bills already jumped double digits starting last summer, and people are mad. It's become an election issue, so this is the government trying to get ahead of it. Now, does it work? Honest answer, we don't know yet. This is an order to go fix it, with deadlines. It's not a finished rule, and some consumer groups are already warning that if utilities overbuild for AI demand that never shows up, those costs could still land on your bill years down the road. So I'm filing this under good sign. Watch closely. Not problem solved. And before you think this is just an American thing, it's not. Up here in Canada, we're getting the same squeeze. The North American grid reliability folks already flagged the Maritimes as an at-risk region. There's a data center proposed near St. John, New Brunswick, that would eat up close to half the power of a whole gas plant next door, and locals are fighting it. So if you've ever watched your power rate climb and wondered why, AI is now part of that answer on both sides of the border. Bottom line for us, AI isn't just on your phone anymore, it's competing with your house for electricity. And this week, somebody finally put rules around who pays. Second story, shorter, but the lesson's bigger. Earlier this month, one of the most powerful AI models out there, made by a company called Anthropic, got pulled completely offline, worldwide. Not because it broke, because the government issued an export control order and the company had to switch it off. So picture this. Companies that built their whole workflow around that one tool, writing, research, customer stuff, showed up to work and it was just gone. Erroring out. The company says it'll be back within days. And I want to be straight with you that back in days is their statement, not a done deal. As of recording, it was still down, so don't take it as fact. Here's the lesson for guys like us, and it's got nothing to do with politics. It's the same lesson as your diagnostic scanner. You know how the dealer can push a software update and suddenly your scan tool won't talk to the new trucks? If your whole operation runs on one tool you don't control, you're exposed. It doesn't matter if it's a code reader or an AI. Don't bolt your livelihood to one thing somebody else can shut off. Have a backup. Know what else can do the job. That's the whole takeaway. Simple, but it's the kind of thing that bites people who forget it. All right, tool of the week. This is where I take one AI tool, put it on the bench, and tell you straight if it's worth your time. No sponsors, no links, nothing to sell you, just the honest call. This week, it's a free one from Google called Notebook LM. Here's what it does in plain English. You feed it a document, and I mean your document, like a service manual, a spec sheet, a safety data sheet. Then you can ask it questions in normal language, and it answers using only that document. It even tells you which page it pulled the answer from. It's not making stuff up off the internet. It's reading your manual and talking back to you. So the test I ran. First, I took an AI build plan I had as a PDF, fed it in, went to the Studio tab, and hit Audio Overview. It spat out a recording of two voices talking back and forth about my document, like a podcast about my own file. Cool as hell. I could see throwing a manual in there and listening to the rundown on the drive to a job. Then I got serious. I uploaded my union collective agreement, the MOS agreement, and started grilling it on what's actually in there. Asked it a stack of questions I already knew the answers to. It got every single one right, pulled straight from the document. Verdict: keeper. This one's going in my arsenal for diagnostics. Feed it a service manual, ask it where the spec is, done. One honest caution, and this matters more than the cool factor. It only knows what you feed it, and you're uploading your documents to Google's servers to do it. A public union agreement? No big deal. But before you throw a proprietary OEM service manual or anything sensitive from work in there, make sure you're allowed to. That's a question for your employer, not the tool. And for anything safety critical, it shows you the page it pulled from, so go verify the torque on the actual page before you wrench on it. Sharp apprentice, not a replacement for the book. Real quick, 2 things the tech crowd lost their minds over this week that don't change your Tuesday. 1, a famous AI researcher, the guy behind a lot of how these things even work, jumped from Google to OpenAI. Big deal in their world, means nothing for your shop. 2, SpaceX filed paperwork to buy an AI coding company called Cursor for $60 billion. And I say filed on purpose. It's not done. It's pending approval. Just shows you the kind of money sloshing around this stuff right now. That's the noise. Now, you don't have to read about it. So that's the week. The power bill fight's the one to watch. There's real deadlines in the next 30 and 60 days, so I'll come back to it when the grid operators have to actually respond. If this is the kind of thing you want, AI news cut down to what matters for working people, hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And I put out a newsletter that's basically this, in your inbox, so you don't have to dig through 16 tech blogs every week. Links below. That's it. I do the digging, you get the parts that matter. See you next week.